So, hujambo bwakeye molweni. I'm Thembekile Mrototo. Welcome to Unwrap Africa. Siyaqhaqha. Shortly, we'll take you on a walk through the vibrant streets of Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire. But first, a look at stories that have made headlines on the African continent this week. Chad says it's suspending all visas to Americans as what it calls a matter of reciprocity. It's after a travel ban that was announced by US President Donald Trump against 12 countries, 7 of which are on the African continent. The United Nations Refugee Agency says more than 4 million people have now fled Sudan's civil war. And Human Rights Watch says M23 rebels in the DRC have executed at least 21 civilians over 2 days in Goma in February. And Zimbabwe is issuing permits to cull at least 50 elephants in the Save Valley Conservancy, where there are 3 times more elephants than habitat can sustain. And our question to you tonight is to do with one of those headlines. Donald Trump recently announcing an executive order banning travel by citizens from 7 African countries, among others. They are Chad, the DRC, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Libya, Somalia, and Sudan. What do you make of the decision? Let us know on WhatsApp. The number is 078-459-1897. You can also find us on Facebook. That's SABC Unwrap Africa, and on X we are SABC News_TV. Well, the city of Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire has been a hive of activity lately, hosting international events from the recent Africa CEOs Forum to the African Development Bank's group annual meetings. Our Thembekile Mrototo spent some time there with video journalist Thembekile.
Hello there and welcome to the beautiful city of Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire. Let's go for a tour together. This is a vibrant city in Côte d'Ivoire. It's rich with history. We start our tour in one of the oldest cathedrals. Abidjan is a construction site and the building, one of the tallest buildings in Africa. It's known as F Tower with 72 floors. Well, I hope you're still enjoying our tour here in Abidjan. Joining us now is Amma. She's a tour guide here. Amma, thank you so much. I mean, a beautiful city here. And how lovely and how special is this place?
You know, in this place, we receive a lot of clients coming from the US, from from Canada. When they came here, they be surprised because when they see the building, they see everything change, and now we might develop. They enjoy the local food, they enjoy everything around here, and even the history of the country.
And how special is this place? I mean, the tourism, you were telling us about how the sector is booming.
You know, in the past, it was not allowed for everybody to be in, so now everybody allowed to be here. So when they see around, say, oh, this look beautiful, and we show them around, we show the history, like for example the monument, Akisifera. When they see the history, they were so amazed, they were happy.
All right, thank you so much. So yeah, really incredible time here in Abidjan. We then went to the Independence Square. After all, Côte d'Ivoire got its independence from France in 1960. Abidjan is also home to a number of migrants who come to sell their products with locals in one of the oldest markets in the heart of the city. The Ivorian commercial city boasts with some of the finest hotels in West Africa, like Sophie, which hosts mega events in the country. It's also located in one of the upmarket's neighborhoods. Thembekile Mrototo, Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire.
Well, Zambia's Patriotic Front says that the death of the former Zambian president, Edgar Lungu, has left a huge void in the organization. Lungu died at a private hospital in South Africa on Thursday. The Patriotic Front's Secretary General, Raphael Nashinda, spoke to SABC News international editor Sophie Mokoena about Lungu's passing.
The whole country is in mourning The party is in mourning, but we are here in South Africa to make sure that the correct things are done as we prepare to give him a dignified send-off. As you are aware, I think the background is that back home we have been dealing with very unfortunate circumstances that are never expected in a normal democracy. The former president for over 3 years was without justification stopped from traveling or indeed to attend to basic needs like basically medical checkups. He's been in South Africa being attended to by a specialist here for over 10 years. And going by the medical personnel that were attending to him after what would describe him sneaking out of the country basically to try and have his health attended to. He was told that had he come maybe 2 years earlier, the condition would have been better.
But he was in South Africa in 2015, I remember very well, where he received medical attention.
Like you have put it, that is in 2015. And from 2015 all the way to 2021 until he left office, he was constantly being attended to. But from the time he left office, we may not have all the time to describe what he's been subjected to, but I think significantly is that he was never allowed to travel. He was under a travel ban, which was basically politically motivated without any law backing it or any conventional things that were being considered. He took advantage of a situation where there was a human rights or UN human rights rapporteur was investigating human rights issues in Zambia, and obviously because the regime was afraid that if they stopped him from traveling, they would be exposed. That's how he found himself here.
But the other issue is that are there no proper facilities in Zambia, the country that he has led, perhaps where he could get a medical attention or treatment before the challenges or the health challenges he had got out of control?
I think his condition required some extra, specialized, attention, which we may not currently have in Zambia. I mean, we have certain facilities in Zambia that South Africa may not have. And to that effect, we have some of our people, some of your people come to Zambia. It's a normal thing in a global world. So he was coming here because of a specific medical condition that was recommended could be attended by specialists here. And it's a normal thing. The issue that we're discussing is that the death of our former president could have been avoided had people been, professional, had people been patriotic and humane in dealing with each other regardless of the politics. Now we're preparing to repatriate his remains back to Zambia and prepare for the funeral procession until the last day of send-off. We have a foreign affairs minister, Mr. Aimbe, who has come, representing President Hakainde Hichilema, to try and offer courtesies in the process of repatriating his body, which is shocking, obviously, for the party, and is also shocking for the family, because for the past 3 years, 2 years and some months, President Edgar was stripped off of all his entitlements as a former head of state, which is very unfortunate. His security, whatever you can talk about. He came here just like an ordinary person, looking after himself. And his wishes to those of us who were very close to him and interacted with him was that if anything happened to me, I would rather be treated the same way I've been treated while I'm alive. Allow me to be buried within, with close family members, and let, an ordinary process be undertaken. Unfortunately, our friends who are in government are coming with this pomp And now the person they verified, they want to call him a statesman, they want to accord him all kinds of courtesies, we want to repatriate his remains, we want to buy his caskets and all these things, we want to be in charge of the funeral. And we're saying, are you doing this as an entitlement or gratuitously? Is it out of sympathy? If it's an entitlement, how is it that you are being selective? Why didn't you offer his entitlement when he was alive, and you want to offer this when he is no more?
Take you back to our question to you this evening about thoughts on Donald Trump's recent executive order banning travel from nations including 7 African countries. They are Chad, the DRC, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Libya, Somalia and Sudan. And some of your thoughts have been coming in on X. Let's bring a few of them up now and have a look at what you're saying. Reformer RG says, I think he just Googled random African countries. Whichever came up first were the first to be banned. Franz Erasmus says the correct decision is not always the most popular one. Leslie Mangena says, I don't know Trump's reasoning for banning African countries from traveling to the US, but I believe it has everything to do with the recent fallout between himself and Elon Musk. It's time that Africans unite. Welcome back to Unwrap Africa. Tonight we're joined by one of the authors of an exciting new book about invention on the African continent, Lerato Makate. The book is titled We Were Always Here, Stories of Black Inventors Across the African Diaspora. It's been described as a powerful piece of writing uncovering the often overlooked contribution of Africans to innovation as well as ingenuity. The book highlights the remarkable contributions of some of these inventors from across the diaspora, as I was saying. Let's speak now to Lerato, who's with us in studio. Good to have you on. So this is the culmination of 3 years of work. How do you even begin to tell the stories of African inventors without leaving them out, but also considering that much of those stories are often hidden?
I think we were fortunate to think or to work on the book during COVID, so the world was at peace a little bit. But I think with Leslie Owen, who really was working in the labor sector through before apartheid and during the new dispensation, had a conversation with a colleague, and someone said, "Oh, have black people ever invented anything?" And that for him was something of a sore point, because he had seen many amazing black people, and he just went on a mission. I think 5 years before the book, we put the book together, and he's just like, we have to do something. And his daughter happens to be a well-known author, a well-known writer, Therese Owen, who used to do a lot of the arts and culture and the Kwaito stuff, and was really kind of immersed in like black culture, innovation and things like that. And then she was like, okay, I want to put together a team of people that I think are really amazing.
And I was struck by how you not only talk about scientific innovation, but you also go to as basic as 2 sisters in Sasolburg in the Free State, whose father was in construction, and they then, just looking around, seeing waste pickers move around, came up with a solution to create affordable bricks, but also using what would ordinarily be discarded as rubbish.
Yeah. So the Kidibone and Keletso story is really, really amazing, and the eco brick. And when I spoke to them, because I first saw them at the Engine Pitch and Polish, and I was really, really keen on what they were doing. And most importantly, just because we've got so much waste, and number 2, because water is a scarce resource. And they went through a very intense process, I think of about 3 to 4 years, of ensuring that the brick is environmentally friendly, it's solid for structure-wise, and it can be approved to be used to build a lot of things and a lot of homes for a lot of people, but it's also quite cost-effective. And that story, I met them way beyond, like before I actually knew about the book, and I was so keen about their story, and it was just really amazing. A construction head and a finance head were interested in kind of like using the rubbish around them, because they grew up in Sasolburg, and we call them Bomachereza, right? Who are running around with those trolleys, and they had the space, and the parents said, fill up the yard with the junk and figure it out until you do.
And you also tell, just on the environment, I mean, one of the stories you tell is of a Kenyan man who, in his village, the Maasai people, basically seeking a solution solution to protect their cattle from lions that were coming in to attack, etc. But you also touch on a very contemporary story for South Africa, that of Lerato Makate, the man who came up with the Please Call Me service. We know that has had litigation with Vodacom, but it speaks to a common theme, right, in terms of innovation, the battle over intellectual property and the ownership for inventors.
Yeah, and I mean, that is also quite an important point, because also when you speak to innovators, there are people who get on with their day, but like when they work on their innovations and their IPs, they stay away and they really think about it and they develop and they think what is important. And for Nkosana's story, what we were trying to show was that innovations are not only scientific, innovations are not only agricultural, but also in the digital space where intellectual IP is important. That is an innovation, and everybody keeps asking, am I related to him? The Makates are small, but I don't know him personally.
I mean, look, you would have been in for a good check if you were.
Definitely.
And I mean, we're showing, you look at people who've worked in the hair industry, the banking as well was a focus of this book. But also the other troubling theme is often how, even through the centuries, racism has played a role in taking away from Black and African inventors. In America, for example, the woman whose story was documented in the movie Hidden Figures, who worked at NASA, were a prime example of that, doing the work, but someone else taking the credit.
Yeah, and she was known as the human computer. So, I mean, that for us, this is why the importance of art, the importance of arts and culture becomes that, because obviously writers take creative liberty, but also from stories that were never told. I mean, I was looking at I think it's the 6888, the one with Kerry Washington,
late last year,
of the black, the all-black female army during World War, and that was a story that was never ever told. So for us, it was really important to kind of even just highlight, because it's not only black people in the African continent, but it's also black people over the diaspora who've been left unrecognized for a very long time. But if I walk around every single time, I say to people, does anyone know Alexander Graham Bell? And everyone will answer me. Does anyone know Isaac Newton? And people will answer me. So this is what we're trying to change.
In 30 seconds, Lerato, beyond just documenting the book, the history, what do you want to happen once people have read this book?
I think the one thing we want with this book is for people to pay it forward. I mean, I did this, and I'm going to do this. I'm taking it to my high school, but we really want the Department of Education to kind of take it and put it into school, because science and innovation is quite important, and we want people to be curious and spread themselves wide.
Lerato Makate, good to talk to you about this incredible book. There we were. We were always here. Lerato is one of the authors, along with Dr. Candice Bailey, Caesar Malinga, Les Owen, and Teresa Owen, joining us in this edition of Unwrap Africa. I want to look back at our question that we're asking you this evening. It's still about that latest Trump travel ban affecting 12 countries, 7 of which are from the African continent. They are Chad, the DRC, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Libya, Somalia and Sudan. What do you make of the decision made by the man in the Oval Office? Let's see what your thoughts have been so far. Simon Ganyane says it's time for African countries and our leaders to wake up and open their eyes. Stop the fight and let's build this African continent together and let Africa have peace. Mokoena says the ban couldn't just happen for no reason. What did those countries and all their citizens do that prompted the US president to issue such an order? I'm surprised the citizens of one of the most notorious African countries are not on the list. And all African countries must ban all US citizens from setting their foot on the continent. That's according to President Putin. So the East African region's coffee industry is growing. Tanzania's coffee beans have created a smooth, citric body of chocolatey aftertaste. The coffee grows on the slopes, of Mount Kilimanjaro. SABC News international editor Sophie Mokoena enjoys a cafe latte, and didn't miss an opportunity to have Tanzania's coffee during her recent trip to Dar es Salaam.
Tell us about this coffee.
Okay, this is the Ridge Cafe from Dar es Salaam. We are serving coffee in Masaki. We have beans we have the farm from Kilimanjaro and Mbeya, and the beans that we are serving today is from Kilimanjaro, the dark roast. So we are preparing the espresso, latte, cappuccino, and Okay, I'm taking the pot filter, then I'll bring coffee from here. After bringing the coffee, I'll do the tampering. After tampering, and here I'm brewing the coffee now. So after brewing the coffee, and here is the espresso. I'll steam the milk. Sorry.
I'm going to drink this coffee latte, Tanzania, and the Kilimanjaro beans. Wow.
Okay, so here I'll do the steam. I'll steam the milk. I'll just finalize the hold on that side. And here we are.
Asante sana.
Karibu sana.
Karibu sana. Asante sana.
Sophie Mokoena enjoying her coffee there in Dar es Salaam. And before we go, a massive congratulations to all the runners from the continent who participated in the Comrades Marathon today. We will see you all back here on Unwrap Africa next week, 8 p.m. on SABC News, channel 404. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.